I'm not here to waste your time, my friend. I'm here to add real value to your life and a little more wisdom to your plate, the kind that truly nourishes you, so you know exactly what, how, and when to eat in order to strengthen your bones and stop the deficiencies that come with old age. Now listen closely. The foods you keep in your kitchen will decide whether you grow stronger or weaker as the years go by. If your kitchen shelf is full of candy, soda, and processed snacks, you are slowly feeding weakness. But if your kitchen holds bone broth, the right proteins, minerals, and natural food combinations, you are feeding strength, energy, and longevity. Most seniors don't know this. And that's exactly why you should stay with the senior kitchen, because here, I don't just tell you what foods are healthy, I explain the when, what, and how of eating, so that every bite works for your blood, your memory, your bones, and your muscles. So today, let's talk about one of the most powerful yet overlooked foods for seniors, bone broth. And more importantly, the best food combinations to eat with bone broth if you want to beat muscle loss and protect your bones from weakness. And before we dive in, hit that subscribe button to the Senior Kitchen, the channel that helps men over 60 feel strong, healthy, and young again. Why bone broth matters for seniors. Bone broth is not just a soup, it's a medicine in a bowl. When you simmer bones for hours, you pull out collagen, amino acids, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, the very building blocks of your bones and muscles. Now here's the part most men don't know. After 60, your body naturally loses muscle, a condition called sarcopenia, and your bones lose density. That's why simple things like getting out of a chair, climbing stairs, or carrying groceries become harder. But the nutrients in bone broth directly target this problem. Collagen repairs the matrix of your bones. Glycine and proline rebuild your joints and connective tissue. Calcium and magnesium go straight into strengthening weak bone. A study from the Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that seniors who added collagen-rich foods had up to 7% improvement in bone density in just 1 year. So let me say this clearly, bone broth should be in your kitchen, not candy bars, not soda, not sugary snacks. If you are serious about living stronger, bone broth is your foundation. Food Combo 1, bone broth plus lean protein, chicken, fish, eggs. Let me tell you something many seniors don't realize. Bones are not just calcium. That's one of the biggest myths in nutrition. Yes, calcium is important, but your bones are actually made up of nearly 50% protein by volume. Without enough protein, your bones are like a wall made of bricks but no cement, fragile and ready to crack. That's why pairing bone broth with lean protein, like chicken breast, fish, turkey, or even a simple boiled egg, is not just a good idea, it's a game changer. Bone broth by itself gives you collagen, gelatin, and minerals. But when you add lean protein, you bring in essential amino acids like leucine and lysine that specifically trigger muscle growth and repair. Together, they form a power team against sarcopenia, that age-related muscle loss that makes seniors weaker every year after 60. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed seniors over 65 and found that those who combined collagen-rich foods with lean protein had greater improvements in grip strength and walking speed compared to those who ate either one alone. In other words, the combination multiplies the benefits. Mr. David, 72, a retired engineer, came to me frustrated. He told me, "Doc, I've been drinking bone broth every morning, but my muscles are still shrinking and my knees ache." When I asked him what he ate with it, he said, "Oh, just the broth. It fills me up." Here's the mistake. Filling your belly doesn't mean feeding your muscles. Once we started adding shredded chicken breast into his broth, or pairing it with a boiled egg on the side, the change was remarkable. Within 2 months, his arms had more strength, his knees were less stiff, and he told me proudly, "I can carry my groceries again without stopping." That's not a small thing, my friend. That's independence. That's the difference between relying on others and standing strong on your own 2 feet. Now here's the part that excites me the most. Bone broth proteins like collagen and lean proteins like chicken or fish are digested at different speeds. Collagen works slower, reinforcing the structure of your connective tissue, while lean proteins like chicken release amino acids quickly to jumpstart muscle repair. That means when you eat them together, you're giving your body both the quick fix and the long-term rebuild at the same time. Here's how you can do it. Add shredded chicken breast into your bone broth and sip it warm at breakfast. Stir in soft scrambled eggs into your broth for a protein-rich custard. Or have a cup of fish-based bone broth with a piece of grilled salmon on the side for dinner. These aren't just meals, they're prescriptions for strength. If you drink bone broth plain, you will get some benefit. But if you combine it with lean protein, you unlock its full healing potential. Think of it like a lock and key. One without the other leaves the door closed. Food Combo 2. Bone broth plus vegetables. Spinach, kale, carrots, onions, garlic. Now listen closely, because this is the part most men over 60 overlook. Bone broth gives you minerals, but vegetables, especially dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and collards, bring in vitamin K, vitamin C, and extra calcium. These are essential for directing calcium into your bones instead of leaving it floating uselessly in your blood. Research from Osteoporosis International found that seniors who combined calcium and vitamin K2 from greens with collagen from broth had fewer fractures and stronger bone density. So imagine this. Instead of a candy bar or sweet cereal, you start your day with a warm bowl of bone broth filled with spinach, carrots, and celery. That's not just food. That's a bone and muscle prescription on your plate. Food Combo 3. Bone broth plus whole grains or legumes, brown rice, quinoa, barley, lentils, beans. Now let's talk about the third combo, and I'll be honest with you. This one often surprises men over 60. Most seniors think muscle loss and weak bones are just about calcium or protein, but they forget one critical truth. Your muscles and bones also run on fuel. And not just any fuel, the steady, slow-burning energy that comes from whole grains and legumes. Here's the mistake many older men make. They drink bone broth, maybe eat a bit of meat, but they skip carbs completely because they've heard carbs are bad. But let me set the record straight. Not all carbs are created equal. White bread, pastries, and candy. Yes, those are harmful. But whole grains like quinoa, barley, or brown rice, and legumes like beans and lentils. Those are your bone's best friends when paired with bone broth. Whole grains and legumes give you complex carbohydrates, which release glucose slowly into your blood. That slow, steady release means your muscles have the energy to stay active, your brain stays sharp, and your body actually uses the protein from bone broth more efficiently. In fact, research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that older adults who combined protein with complex carbohydrates had better muscle retention than those who ate protein alone. Think of it like building a house. The bone broth gives you the bricks, collagen, and amino acids. The vegetables we talked about earlier give you the cement and reinforcement. But the whole grains and legumes? They give you the worker's wages, the steady supply of energy that lets the building process keep going. Without that energy, your body can't lay down new muscle or bone properly. Mr. James, 72, was proud of cutting out all carbs because he wanted to eat clean. But he complained of constant fatigue, slow walking speed, and trouble keeping muscle, even though he ate plenty of protein. I asked him, "Do you ever add brown rice or lentils to your broth?" He said no. So I suggested he simmer a handful of barley and lentils in his broth for lunch. Within a month, he told me, "Doc, I feel like I have fuel in the tank again." That's the quiet power of whole grains. They don't just fill you up, they fire you up. Here's how you can do it at home. Add half a cup of barley, brown rice, or quinoa into your simmering bone broth. Let it cook until tender. For legumes, soak lentils or beans overnight, then simmer them with your broth for a hearty, protein and fiber-packed stew. The grains soak up the broth, making every bite full of collagen and minerals, while giving you long-lasting energy. Now, some men worry about digestion with beans. My advice? Start small. Lentils are the easiest on the stomach, and when cooked in broth with garlic and onions, they become soft and easier to digest. Bone broth with whole grains or legumes transforms your soup into a complete meal. You're not just sipping liquid nutrition anymore. You're fueling your muscles, strengthening your bones, and giving your body the slow-release energy it needs to move, walk, climb stairs, and live independently. Gentlemen, let's bring it home. When you walk into your kitchen tomorrow morning or afternoon, I don't want you reaching for candy, soda, or processed snacks that weaken your body silently. Instead, I want you to think of your kitchen as your personal pharmacy of health. And at the heart of that pharmacy? Bone broth. But here's the key. Bone broth alone is not enough. Think of it like a football team with only one star player. Yes, he's strong, but without his teammates, he can't win the game. That's why pairing bone broth with the right partners, protein, eggs, chicken, fish, vegetables, spinach, kale, carrots, onions, garlic, and whole grains or legumes, barley, lentils, quinoa, turns it from just soup into a healing, strengthening powerhouse for men over 60. Now, I want you to picture this. Instead of feeling tired after a walk, you feel steady. Instead of worrying that your bones will break with a small fall, you feel confident in your strength. Instead of waking up stiff and sluggish, you feel light and mobile. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when you consistently feed your body the right combinations of foods. Gentlemen, this is the life I want for you. A kitchen that keeps you young at heart, steady on your feet, and hopeful in your mind. Not a kitchen filled with candy and soda, but with broth, vegetables, grains, and natural, wholesome foods that your body actually recognizes and uses. And that's why the Senior Kitchen exists. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to give you knowledge, practical, research-backed, everyday advice on what, how, and when to eat so your bones, blood, memory, and muscles all stay strong well into your 60s, 70s, and even 80s. So here's my final word. Keep bone broth in your home. Don't drink it plain. Power it up with protein, vegetables, and whole grains. Make it a habit, not a one-time experiment. If you do this, you're not just eating, you're reversing weakness, rebuilding strength, and rewriting the story of your aging. And if you want more of these life-changing food combinations, make sure you subscribe to the Senior Kitchen, the one place where we don't just talk about food, we talk about the foods that fight weakness, heal your bones, and give you hope. Subscribe, and together we'll make your kitchen the strongest pharmacy in the world.